Okay, so we are three bitches.
Sorry. I feel like sitting down like
I didn't say you recorded it, but if I had, I gotta find a new angle. Like, now you got the back of your head.
Hey, if you turn the camera behind your character, you should be able to catch her.
Okay. Kiki looks so knightly.
Alright, hello everybody. We are three bitches in a hot tub. Starring
Countess Savannah,
Empress Harmony,
and Lady Kiki Mew.
Okay guys, welcome to our first ever podcast. We don't know what the fuck we're doing.
This is also new to us.
Very new. We do have a topic for today, which was presented by our Empress Harmony. Go ahead.
Oh right, so in recent news, for those of you who don't know about it, TanaCon hit us this month, I believe?
Yeah.
And it was probably one of the biggest cons next to VidCon. So I thought about it and I was like, hey, if we were gonna run our own con, what would you do for your con? Like, what would be the theme?
Well, if I was gonna run a con, I wouldn't make it like FouseyTube's con, which apparently happened this week. Guys, don't be like him. But I would have a vamp con. Now, I've had ideas, because I'm a vampire, it'd probably be very dark. I'd try to find live bats that people could feed. I would get in contact with all the underground vampire clubs, especially quote-unquote real vampires. It would be held at 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. so that anyone who is quote-unquote allergic to the sun can attend. And parental supervision will not be allowed.
What about your venue? Are you gonna hold it at a place that only holds 1,000 people, but sell 5,000 tickets?
No. It would be free, and it would be in a forest. I'd probably go Enchanted Forest. Just rent out the whole forest, so that we bats have places to spread our wings and scream.
I hope you have drinks.
Oh yes, blood cocktails.
TanaCon did.
Oh.
Blood cocktails, water, and apple cider for the young ones. If people have brought their vampire children, I don't know.
Who would you feature? Because FouseyCon had an experience.
Well, unlike FouseyCon, I can't get in contact with Drake. So I would feature nigga down the street who can sing. And a nice laptop with all the artists. Everyone would be there. Just I wouldn't have to pay them.
Oh my god.
Expect a lot of Nicki Minaj. It'd be very free though. Very free, and it wouldn't so much be a con unless you bought the exclusive VIP triple tier tickets, which is $1,000. You get to meet Dracula. But how would you guys have your con?
Alright, Kiki, what about you?
Oh god. Well, I never really thought about hosting my own con, but from looking at TanaCon and Fousey, I know what not to do if I ever did a con. But it's interesting. I mean, with my theme, I probably may go for a cat motif type of thing, but yeah, I probably would have a better manager to help manage these type of things as well.
Oh my god. Sorry, it's crazy because for me, I don't think I could ever hold a con just because of the fact that I'm not experienced with it. I don't like people that much either. So that's absolutely terrible. But
No,
I
but you
just-
can
I
have an
couldn't do it.
anti-social con.
I couldn't do it. Like, just the mess that is a con in general. You're talking about supplying drinks for a bunch of people I don't know, food for people I don't know, shade for them. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Just she doesn't want to host anyone she doesn't know.
That sounds bad to all my subs. I'm sorry. I love y'all, but I keep y'all at a distance.
Oh my god.
Hey, all 39 of my subs are totally allowed to come, okay? I can accommodate 39 people. It's definitely not 1,000 or 5 or apparently Tana's number of 20K people.
Does she still have 20K though?
Girl was only 5K.
Oh.
People that came there. That girl over exaggerated about a whole 15K people who were apparently ghosts.
Oh god. So anybody hear anything good in the latest drama alerts?
Well, other than the FuziCon documentary that's been going on, which, like, damn. Apparently this nigga invited Drake, Little Pump, other big names to his quote-unquote concert.
What is with the stage name these days? Lil Pump? What
Little
kind
Xan.
of pump? Pump what?
Little Xan, Little Windex. Oh man, don't forget about
Oh, I
Little
just forgot about him.
Windex. Don't forget about Little Windex. Little Windex is lit. He be yo Windex all. I don't know what happened to the stage. It's like they all wanted to take after Lil Wayne, but Wayne was taken.
Jesus. Oh, and then, you know, for those of you who don't know, Guardians of the Galaxy might be screwed. The director was recently fired for some old tweets, which, honestly, at this point, every celebrity needs to be, like, weary of Twitter. Like, Twitter will get you fired in a minute.
Guys,
That
even
is
if
so
you're
true.
not a celebrity, be weary of social media in general. I said social media. Social media in general. Because jobs now, like shit. They've have to stalk your social medias before they even consider hiring.
Yeah, jobs, schools, universities, they are not playing out here. So watch what you post, people.
If you got a scholarship, don't be political, fun, or crazy.
Political, fun, or crazy.
Just post, good morning texts and things about coffee and pretzels.
I mean, it's really serious, because even the 2 Guild War devs that got fired, I believe 2 weeks ago, or about a week ago, people are digging up their old social media posts, and it's just, it's
Oh wow.
it's getting to the point that, like, people are afraid of losing their jobs because they say the wrong thing on Twitter, and then suddenly, bam, Reddit comes back with your post from 3 years ago talking about how, ooh, it feels good not getting raped today, and then you get fired because your job is like, well, we can't have you talking about rape, even though it was 3 years ago before we hired you. And it's just like, what the fuck? Like, just because some people don't like me or the way that I address certain things, they got me fired? Like, are you serious?
Oh yeah, or your company just in general doesn't want anything to happen, and they preemptively fire you before this gets out.
Yeah.
And like, that also brings up that whole Nicki Minaj situation.
Oh yeah.
That girl, even though she was an intern, like, I understand Nicki shouldn't have responded to her like that, but at the same time, she shouldn't have posted Nicki's response. If Nicki wanted to respond to you publicly, she could have. I don't really think she's that scared of the public. But she chose to do it privately, and you chose to spread it to the public, and then chose to be shocked when you were fired. That doesn't make any sense. Professionals, yo. And even if you're not a professional, you may be one at some point. Just be careful.
Yeah.
The world is losing its mind. And Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram are pulling the reins.
I mean, we live in this day and age where I mean, we're supposed to, post whatever we like, post however we feel, but, there's consequences with these. You really do have to pay attention to how you say or mean certain things in your text. It may be taken out of context. You never know how someone may interpret it.
Yep.
Yeah, very true. Like, in this time that we live in, they're like, all of these social media things are popping up. Like, even things we don't know about. Like, did you guys know there was a twatter?
I always thought that was a joke.
Yeah, no, it's real. Like, you can find me, Thr33 on Twitter. But Twitter is an anti-social social media where anti-social people go to be social.
The hell?
That is, yep, that's their quota right there. It's real. It exists. But like, yeah, I know. I made an account just to test it out. It's very real. And I'm just saying, all these social medias coming out to cater to this, cater to that, cater to cat lovers, dog lovers, whatever, and they're all saying, express yourself, be whoever you want to be. But underlying tone, sure, you can be whoever you want to be, but other people can see who you are. And like my mother said, keep your true self locked up so you can get paid. Now, when you want a job and you're like a cat lady who has 27 cats, and you're like, but this is who I am. The job's like, I don't think we can hire you because who's going to take care of your 27 cats?
Oh my God.
Just dilemmas. That's all I'm saying.
I forgot what I was gonna say about the social media thing as well. Just the control. Like, what's funny to me about it is that a lot of these like allegations and stuff that happen on Twitter are made by like men who get butthurt. And you can call me a feminist all you want. Call me a man lady. I don't fucking care. Like, especially because of the new She-Ra reboot. I don't know if you guys have heard about that.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
And like men are just like, oh my God, her new design is like too revealing or whatever the case might be. And I'm just like, it's a child's cartoon. What do you want from it?
It was always revealing though. Like, I don't think She-Ra was ever like completely covered up.
They have an opinion on everything, and it's just like, does this affect your life in any way, shape, or form? Are you gonna sit there and watch a child's cartoon? This isn't My Little Pony, Friendship is
Mad. Yeah, they are gonna sit there and watch a child's cartoon, and then they're gonna sit there and pick it apart. And they're also gonna sit there and come up with like 1,000 different theories that the author never confirmed, that the artist never thought about. They're gonna be like, I'm right, and everyone's gonna be like, oh, okay, I guess. And you're like, no, don't guess, I'm right.
Disrespectful and
it's getting hard not to be a feminist nowadays.
It really is.
Like, no matter where we turn, like life, TV, movies, gaming, like we're all gamers here, like it's really hard to stop myself from becoming a game feminist. I've been tempted.
I patrol Twitter pretty much like every 30 minutes. But like, sitting there and reading some of these tweets and like seeing some people say, well, I want a little bit more representation for XYZ people in this gaming series or whatever. And then you have under that comment section a bunch of, again, men who obviously, of course you're not going to put any thought into what representation means for you, because pretty much every game has male characters, whether they be black, white, Asian, whatever.
Asian.
and it's rare as is to get other races as main characters in these games, because almost every other game the main character is a cis white male who is chasing after a cis white female for whatever ungodly reason it is. The world is falling apart, whatever. And it's just like, I would like to see, you know, maybe a nice lesbian couple. I always thought about lesbian Twilight. As much as I hate Twilight, I think I'd be more interested in Twilight if it was two girls. I'm just throwing it out there. But, you know, like, come on. Like, I would like to see some more representation in the gaming industry. We've come so far to not have it. Like, I don't get why we can't have more female main characters. Why can't we have more, you know, one of the biggest demographics I feel like is missing in a lot of games, in MOBAs, first-person shooters, whatever you call it, whatever you want to put it, is black women.
That's so true.
That is true.
That is so true.
That is seriously lacking.
And it's just like, as a matter of fact, with the Hammond thing, because Hammond will be releasing this week coming, I believe, in
Tuesday.
Overwatch. In one of the threads I was reading, someone was like, "Well, I wish we had more. Added a black woman to Overwatch," and that sent the thread ballistic. Oh, why do we need more black women? We already have a black man. This, that, and the next thing. I'm just like, but they are not black
Yeah.
women.
What the
That is the problem.
Yeah, we have a black man. That just brings up the black quota. It doesn't bring up a black woman. And no, Arisha doesn't count. It's a fucking omnic.
Exactly. And you have many young black women sitting at home trying to convince their parents that they like playing video games, that, you know, they can have a career in video games. But how can you say that when there's not enough representation for them in video games, and parents look at video games and see nothing but, you know, I'm trying not to be racist about it, but they see nothing but a bunch of white people.
Yeah, white people, or just seriously white people. Just all demographic of white people, or Asians. A lot of Asians in there too, but nothing for like young black females to really connect with and, you know, aspire to be, or even just actually women in general. Like, the black women is very much lacking in most video games, but then in a broader spec, like, women are lacking in video games. Like, they don't even give you a woman option in some games that are like, you know, those single player games where it's one main character and you go forth. Like, how hard is it to make it that if you want to be a woman, instead of just this man, like the new game Vampire? We all know I'm obsessed with vampires. I wanted to play that game, but it really put me off because he's a guy. Like, yeah, I love vampires and I can get over the fact that he's a dude and like go forth, but I'm not gonna feel the same way playing a dude who's like tragically lost and shit than I would if it was a woman who was going through the same thing. Cause they just feel different things. Women and men don't have the same emotions during the same situation. And it just, like, it really put me off to me getting the game at all. So I was just like, you know, whatever, I'll just watch someone play it. And lo and behold, most of the people that play it are, again, like, cis white men.
Yep.
Because they're all like, oh yeah, it's a vampire, rawr.
I mean, it's nothing against the men. It really isn't. It's just the video gaming industry in general. Like, you know, connecting this to something I was talking about earlier, most people don't know this, but there was an American version of Sailor Moon pitched. A completely different look to what the Sailor Moon that we know now. The version of Sailor Moon that exists somewhere out there on the internet in fragments and bits had a white woman as the main character, Sailor Moon, had a disabled girl in a wheelchair, a black woman, an Asian woman. There was a lot of diversity in that, you know, in that cast, and they pitched it and tried to, you know, bring Sailor Moon over to the US because at that time, and this was like 1993 to probably 1998, I want to say, before Sailor Moon actually hit the airwaves, in which case, when it did hit the airwaves, it failed miserably, and they had to cancel it and then after it was canceled, that's when it became popular again. And during that time, there was nothing but male-based animes on TV. Dragon Ball Z, Gundam, I believe Naruto was out at that time.
Yeah, Naruto was out.
There was nothing for girls. Nothing. And we are in 2018, where that should not be the excuse. The excuse should not be, oh, you know, it costs too much to animate a female character, or we'd have to re-record all these lines, or this, that, and the next thing. No, if you really cared about your market, if you really, cared about the message that your game is delivering, you would do that. You would put in that effort. There are a lot of games that have put in that effort to say, okay, we want to make sure that we cover the bases. No one's telling you to go out and, make a character of every race.
Saying that, just...
But at the very base, have, a
Gender?
male and female option. At the very base. No one's asking for anything special.
I don't want to trigger anybody, but, there's only 2 genders. It's not that hard to animate a woman next to a man.
Yeah, I think the issue with that is, in the gaming industry, there's a niche, and they garner toward that certain niche. And we're talking about gaming as a whole. We all know that originally gaming was for men. Girls didn't get into it until way later into the game. So it's still this old antiquated thing that girls don't play video games. We don't know what the hell we're talking about. We don't know about, certain game mechanics. We don't know about the stories. Who are we to even have an input in these high-titled games? And there have been certain girl characters that have been out there that were commercial first. We all know about Tomb Raider, Lara Croft. She was our pivotal female character out there. But she was successful. But later on, you would have thought that after Lara Croft, there would be other female protagonists out there. But they, for some reason, they sell poorly.
Yeah, they don't. You can barely name any really other than Lara Croft, and then what? Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that came out 2 years ago. I found it so sad that we're in 2018, but yet we can actually sit here and think about Lara Croft, which came out in the freaking 90s, 80s.
Yeah.
As still
around the PlayStation 1 time.
Yeah, she's still the most popular female pivotal role model that we have in the gaming industry. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make it it's even sadder that the first female Overwatch league person came out a couple of months ago, and she's the first person who was a woman.
Oh yeah, wasn't she on an Asian team?
Yeah, she was on the Chinese team. Is
she a sub, or is she on the?
No, she's a main player.
Oh wow.
She's actually a main player, and she's the only female so far to be in a league. She's the only girl on the team. She's the only girl in the league.
I did not know that. Because, when you hear girls in the gaming industry, the first thing people bring up, oh, isn't there a female, oh shit, what's that game? Counter-Strike team?
Oh yeah.
I'm just that's not enough. And the female Counter-Strike team does not participate in male competitions. There's a separate league for female Counter-Strike players.
Oh wow.
As far as I am aware, because last time I saw them, they were versing another female team. So I'm just that's not enough. We need more representation in the gaming industry. Yeah, sure, we have a couple of women who work backstage, but there are none on the front stage saying, hey, I did it, you can do it too. But at the same time, there's also no incentive for more female gamers to come forward and say, hey, I want to be part of the league. Because a lot of games tend to create a female league, and it's just why? Why is that a thing? Why can we not participate in the same league as men? And sure, you could say it's due to, men have better hand-eye coordination or some shit. But at the same time, it shouldn't matter. Because not all men are created, The whole it is now. Men are treated equally, but they don't all possess the same skill level. And it should be the same thing for women. Like, I don't get it. If that's all you're gonna throw at me, it's not valid.
Yeah, it's like the old way of speaking. Like, you know, when a long time ago, women weren't supposed to have an education, and men would have everything to say about that. And it's trickled down to our time period where, okay, now it's not education. Now, since women are now on equal par with men now, since we finally can go to school, now it's gaming.
And you would think, like, gaming, unlike physical contact sports like football, like I used to talk about how there should be female football players, and that's a little rough just because their uniform might require a little extra padding because
it's funny,
stuff like that. What?
There's actually female football players now.
Is there?
Yeah. There's a couple going around in high school teams. They're pretty popular, pretty famous. They actually do their jobs. They're great kickers, runner backs, the non-contact ones, but they're really great speed-wise, agile.
They're there at least. That's a step.
Yeah,
it's not like the fucking lingerie league that comes on.
Oh.
When I saw that, it always came after that dating show where you catch a cheaters. It always came on after Cheaters. Like, I just saw a woman find out her man was cheating with her best friend, and then like, oh, are you okay? And then like 2 minutes later, time for lingerie football, and bitches in underwear just run on the screen. I'm like, what the fuck? What is this?
But yeah, like, for a long time before, I guess before women were able to get into football, I've always talked about like how it's understandable for real sports how you might say, oh, it might be a little risky for women to be involved in the men aspect of the sports, which is why we have NBA and the WNBA. But, in gaming, I feel like there should be no physical barriers. If you are a girl and you want to play, League of Legends, and you are an actual good player, you're not just going there because you want to be a girl on a team, and you're an actual good player, you should have the same opportunities of getting on a team as any of the men sitting next to you.
Yep.
I agree. That's no excuse.
Yeah, it's no excuse. But we're kind of done being feminists right now. We did not plan to become feminists.
The world made us feminists.
It made me this way.
We didn't choose this lifestyle. This lifestyle chose us. But Kiki, do you have any other topics you'd like to bring up?
Oh yeah. Let's see. What was it? Oh yeah. How do you guys feel about the whole Roseanne situation?
Roseanne had her chance way back when. I don't know why she came back, why they brought her back. Now she's gone again, permanently this time.
Like, I barely even watched the show when I was little, but I was like, okay, like, maybe a reboot, I guess. And then that happened. I was like, oh, well then.
I like how she blamed it on drugs.
She blamed it on drugs?
Yes, she did.
That was my favorite part.
I like that the company had to clap back too.
I didn't know she was not white.
I didn't know she wasn't effing white.
Like, that's not an excuse.
Oh Lord.
I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't know. Again, I don't know why they even brought brought her back on TV. Like, you should just let her die.
It's going through a whole reboot situation.
TV needs to stop.
Yeah, TV does need to stop. Especially after what happened to Bill Cosby.
I know it was a different time back then, but the fact that he got away with this for so long, and it took until, I believe the lawsuits and stuff started, last year? Year before that? A little?
Yeah, I think last year.
I can only imagine how many more men are currently carrying secrets as big as that, and it's taking, it takes a lot of strength to come out against an abuser or whatever, but I
get it. I get it. Like, it took so long. Like, he's an old man now. It took y'all till after he retired, till he's practically on his deathbed, and I'm sure you guys feel justified and all that for, finally getting justice and for him to finally pay for his crimes. But at the same time, like, he's old. Is he really paying, or is he just gonna sit there till he dies? I don't know how much comfort you're getting from this. And especially since they're doing all of these reboots, I feel like there's a high chance that, okay, so you're rebooting the series, and then, such and such 3 years later, like 15 to 50 women come out about the main guy of your show that you rebooted and you brought him back, and he, like, molested this, raped that, or had illegal children with that, or, some shit like that.
I'm also really flabbergasted by how many women came forward. Just like, is that a sign of just how much he was able to get away with, or is that just like, I don't know. Holy shit!
I don't know.
You know what I'm flabbergasted about? It's like with the whole, Bill Cosby situation. Is that it all started from a comedy joke that apparently was true. Like, it was this inside thing in Hollywood, which we all know about Hollywood. They have their secrets. That Bill Cosby was doing these things, but no one felt the need to bring it out. And to this woman, that Andrea Constant, was from this university that he had went to, and apparently something went down with him.
Hollywood and their secrets, though. Like, this is what's giving Hollywood such a bad name.
Yeah, it's like there people are joking about these things, like, so and so, like, he can't keep his hands off of women and stuff, and it's like, you think of it as a lighthearted type of thing, like, that's kind of funny, but then all these allegations are coming up, and it's like, like, this is for real, like, people actually have had issues with this person.
Yeah, like, they've been traumatized. People have gone through emotional and psychological trauma because of this person that people knowingly and openly talk about in Hollywood, like in their little parties, their exclusive little get-togethers. They speak about it, but they don't bring it out into the open. They just keep it amongst themselves, and then when it is brought out into the open by the people who've been hurt, they're like, oh yeah, like, we feel so bad. Like, if you felt bad, you would have said something.
That's the thing I can't deal with Hollywood. Like, it's kind of sickening that it takes someone that's not a celebrity to say something about it. Then everyone's on this, like, social bandwagon. It's like, oh yeah, ridicule him. But it's like, you went over this guy's house. Like, you met his family and stuff. It's like, now you want to say something about it?
Yeah, you smoked cigars with him. You drank brandy. Did all this shit. And you guys probably joked about it amongst yourselves. And now that it's out in the open, you want to be distant. You want to be like you weren't friends with him for 15 plus years.
Yep.
Okay.
Hollywood is a very strange place, honestly.
Honestly,
like, I couldn't fathom being part of it.
Yeah, I don't even want to visit Hollywood. I don't want to visit California in general, because California to me is just Hollywood and the things that are linked to it. Sure, San Francisco, LA, those separate cities, they have their own inhabitants and they're not that connected to Hollywood, but they're still affected. And I just don't want to put my toe into that type of environment.
It gets people in trouble. Like, now we know why it's called the casting couch.
This is why I love the song from Hollywood Undead, Been to Hell, because they talk about it in a very hardcore song. And I would recommend anyone listen to Been to Hell, and you'll understand. Especially watch the video. You'll be like, well, damn. They knew things. They tried to send the message out. No one listened. No one listened.
It's just a sad thing that, like, when if you're a celebrity and you have a difference of opinion, and then that shit gets you blacklisted. It is the most disgusting thing ever, because you're out of work for God knows how long until you do something or go back on your word or somebody takes pity on you. Like, look at Leah Remy. She got fucking blacklisted because of talking about fucking Scientology.
Oh, it's not talking about Scientology.
Back on that new show that's like some weird spin-off of like King of the Hill or some shit. And I'm just like, wow, Hollywood is so tight that, like, if you get blacklisted, directors aren't gonna fucking look at you.
No.
It's just like, that shouldn't be right.
Hollywood is run by a handful of very, very conservative old men. And that's it. They control everything from behind the scenes, and everyone's believing, oh, this so-and-so director has all this power. No, he's a puppet. Just like every other director who's a puppet. Unless they're doing fucking Sundance, they're all puppets.
They're very cliquish in Hollywood with the directors. Like, everyone knows everyone.
Everyone knows everyone, and if you fuck up, your shit gonna be spread quicker than the plague. And then you're gonna be blocked out quicker than a plague cure.
Yeah, like, look what happened to Megan Fox.
Oh, what happened to Megan Fox?
Yeah, what happened to her? Isn't she, like, raising kids or something?
Yeah,
she was. It's like, she was, the it girl at first, with the whole Transformer thing, but she makes a mistake. It was a lighthearted mistake. She made a joke about Jewish people, but she was saying that, the director was acting like a Nazi.
Oh.
And, yeah, Steven Spielberg was not having it.
You know about the Steven? Oh, now I understand why they didn't bring her ass back.
Oh, well.
It's none of my business, but...
I would say that, like, it is, like, Kiki is onto something with the way Hollywood is very cliquish, because we're not getting a lot of new household actor names.
Yeah, I noticed that.
People are dying off left and right in Hollywood, and we're not getting people, like, not saying replaced in the sense of, like, oh, similar style to...
Yeah, but we're not getting, like, new stuff.
Yeah.
It's like young blood and shit.
And we're just recycling the same actors in every movie, and shoot me for saying this, but you could have put any other actor in Skyscraper, and I would probably be interested in watching it. Not that The Rock is a bad actor, he is not a bad actor at all. I'm just tired of seeing his face. Give me somebody new, please.
I'm not gonna lie, like, I love The Rock. The Rock is my childhood, but I as well am tired of The Rock, and it really hits me home, because I'm like a die-hard action movie fan. I love all the action stars. I love, Sylvester Stallone. I love Jason Statham. I love, Bruce Willis. Fuck, I love them all, but they're fucking old. And I know eventually they're going to leave. And then I'm like, who's gonna be doing my action movies? I'm not getting a chance to, like, connect with any new action stars because they're not being casted. And, like, I love Bruce Willis, but you need to stop making movies. Like, I love all, but you need to stop, because if I'm still being hung up by you guys, and I already love you, and I'm obviously going to be, like, watching your movies, because since I was young, you're the only guys I've been watching. But then when you're gone, or you stop making movies, what am I gonna do? I'm very person of, like, routine, and if I don't get to know someone when they're young and acting, then I'm not gonna fucking like them. And if they start making action movies after you're gone and I never got a chance to assimilate with them, fuck the movies. I'm not gonna go see it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a disconnect. It's like it's not the consumer's fault. It's Hollywood. It's the director's fault. Like they're not pushing these newer, younger acts. Like, okay, we've all seen Black Panther. Like, okay, we now have an action hero that the actor that plays the Black Panther, and then we also have Michael B. Jordan. That's it. Like, who else is out there?
We also have the black guy from Star Wars. I don't know his name, but he's British.
I can't get his name.
I don't know, but he's he played that stormtrooper guy that I know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know his name. I don't know the guy's name.
I know what you're saying.
Baldwick. Chad Baldwick. That's his name. Chadwick? Chad Baldwick? Chadwick. Fuck. Oh no.
Whatever. We know who you're talking about.
Yeah, those are like, also, on that topic, there's even less black actors.
Bro, I can tell you, the finest of the black actors till this day will forever. Before I get into that, I was gonna say Denzel Washington, but getting into that,
we all know.
The fact that Equalizer 2 is coming out, and I don't know how it's gonna end. I didn't get to see all of the first one, but Denzel Washington hasn't starred in a movie in how long? And he's coming back with this movie. It would have been a great opportunity, and I'm hoping in this movie he trains like some kind of protege, because possibly there could be an Equalizer 3. I don't know. Maybe there could be a spinoff. Either way, this would have been like, these sequels that people keep doing are the perfect opportunities for new actors to get a launch in their career. Even if the series is like ending, like, it is an opportunity for you to introduce us to somebody new. Denzel Washington, Idris Elba, God, who else? Who? I don't even know beyond those two, honestly. Oh well, there's Michael B. Jordan, but he's young.
Yeah, he's the youngin' that's coming up.
Yeah.
Like, those are probably two of the oldest black men. Oh, well, there's Morgan Freeman, but
Morgan Freeman is a skeleton. Like, I love Morgan Freeman.
So what is Samuel Jackson?
If Morgan Freeman has one foot in the grave, Samuel Jackson has two hands in the grave.
Screaming motherfucker. Like, all his character, all of not criticizing Samuel Jackson, but like, every character he ever plays is just very over the top.
He plays himself. That's the problem.
Yeah, and like you were saying about like what was it? The Executioner?
The Equalizer.
The Equalizer. Yeah, like Jason Statham has had a movie like that, The Mechanic. And I obviously watched The Mechanic because he's Jason Statham fan. But he had The Mechanic Resurrection, and in The Mechanic Resurrection, that's what he did. He trained a protege. Like, he had a younger dude he was training to do what he does. Which also, there is a lot of low-key assassin, non-assassin movies out there. But yeah, like, he did that. And sure, I don't really know who the hell this guy was, because I was focused on Jason Statham, but he tried.
Now that kid is probably nowhere to be seen on the acting grid. Cool.
His name is Sam Hazeldine? Yeah, Sam Hazeldine. Who the fuck are you?
See, that's what I'm saying. We're not getting a lot of new household actor names.
Yeah, I don't even know this.
But at the same time, we're also getting a lot of movie remakes and sequels, and it's just like that. Yeah. Now we're also having this problem of not enough directors, but like not enough new directors coming in. Everybody's just kind of rehashing like old things, and I'm pretty sure there's hundreds of young directors trying to break into the industry and not getting anywhere.
Yeah, and you know what really sucks? The fact, because of all of these remakes and these reboots, even when young directors are the ones doing them, they can't really get credit because an old director did the first movie, and the first movie was like such a hit. And if you can't live up to, you know, the big names like Steven Spielberg and, like, you know, all those other people, if you can't live up and make the movie that's a reboot or a remake or whatever as great to them, then you failed. And if you do make it as great as theirs, then you're just a good replacement and their name is still the one being said.
I think you and Kiki were talking about it earlier, how I mean, this is more, you guys, I think you guys were talking about more on the gaming side, about how, you know, as the generations go on and we suck at adapting, we're gonna fucking suffer, man. If Hollywood doesn't start bringing in some more new directors and actual young even if the actors suck, even if they get roles that they suck in, eventually they'll get better, because all our favorite actors, you know, have at least that one movie where, like, we just don't talk about it.
Yeah, like, you know, the Green Lantern.
Oh. The Green Lantern was probably the biggest mistake of a movie I have ever heard.
And the person, Ryan Reynolds, knows that. But now look at him.
He is a household hottie.
Exactly. And so is his wife. They both starred in that movie, even though they probably want to, you know, redact it. But from the record, like 2011, you played in Redacted.
You step back and kind of look at the world and see that there's so many pitfalls and problems, and you're just like, God, like, where did we all go wrong? How did we all just let this?
I feel like we didn't go wrong anywhere. We're all freaking wrong. We don't know what the hell happened to the world. We can't. The world was gifted to us like this.
Yeah.
We're like, what? Our early mid-20s.
The generation born in the 90s has gone through, well, 80s/90s has gone through a lot. Man.
We've gone through so much, and it's not even our fault.
Yeah.
We have nothing to do with it. We're just passerbys, or like, you know what they say, if someone causes a train accident a mile away, but you just left your home, and then somehow you get hit by a train. That's how life is to us 80s and 90s kids. Like, we came into the world where things were already happening, and now we're just seeing the conclusion.
Yeah, I don't remember when it was, but I saw this, not to get political, but there was a kind of like a poll about whether the age limit for getting into, like, politics and holding office should be younger. And I had to sit there and think about it. Like, in order to be president, you have to be almost near fossil age. Okay, probably not really, but
40?
You know, that's pretty fossil in my book.
Damn, well, we really are the millennials.
And, like, it's like, there's a lot of, I've encountered a lot of people about my age, a little bit older, who are very deep into politics, and if they held an office, I could see, you know, them making these changes. We talk about so many, like, changes, like, especially where, like, birth control and Planned Parenthood and all that extra stuff is concerned, and we're always holding up signs and rioting or protesting, but no one's putting a foot forward to do anything other than the people who were born in about our timeline, and they don't have that power to really push anything. But if they did have that power, they could make stuff happen. And, you know, I kind of agree. I feel like the barrier to entry into, like, important offices, whether it's political or not, should be lowered.
Yeah,
just because, like, we're not. By the time we're able to get into those offices, because none of us, me, you, Kiki, any of our friends, we're not unless our brains overnight fucking develop a world-class idea or something. None of us are ever gonna hold a position where, you know, going back to our first topic, where we can hold a con. you know, and not
Yeah.
TanaCon shit to death.
Yeah.
We're not old enough. Regardless of how well we do it, we're still not going to be old enough to push that influence.
And also I feel like that's the problem. That's probably the main problem that like fucked over TanaCon and FuziCon and shit like that. Like Tana's 19. Like you shouldn't be doing any of this stuff. Especially like I'm only 23 and honestly I feel like I don't know anything. And you're 19, so you definitely don't know anything. So why are you taking on this type of responsibility when you don't know anything? When, you know, people's time, money, you know, lives, just all on the line, and you're a 19-year-old who just graduated a year ago? Your biggest problem a year ago was pink the right color next to your prom dress? And you thought that at 19, oh, I have the, you know, mental capacity, the idea, and the fortitude to hold a con where a corporation as big as YouTube, on their first one, only invited as much as the Marriott could actually hold, but you invited 3 times that. And you definitely didn't go about it the right way. So who? There's a stranger in the hot tub, guys. Who let you do this? That's the question. I don't understand.
Telling you, man, I sit here every day and I'm just like, I'm getting older and I'm not getting any closer to my goals. And that's not just because I'm not trying, it's just because, like, the means of getting there are not easily given.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you get all these crazy stars and shit, a new famous person every week, and then you're like, oh wow, she must have, you know, she must be like closer to my age. Nah, this bitch is 18. She is now a CEO of a company.
Or 16.
Or 16.
Or 16. Freaking, man, the guy on the France team who just won the World Cup is 19.
See, it's that shit. That shit right there.
And I'm sitting here at 23, not done with college, not in the career path I want, in a hot tub.
And it's not for a lack of trying. It's just, you know, sometimes things don't always line up the way you want it to.
Honestly, sometimes life happens, guys. Life is a fickle ass bitch. And she don't care for no one unless you a Satan worshiper. In which case, I guess she's on your side. I'm sorry, that was the Christian inside of me.
And you know, it's kind of sad with the whole Tana situation. It's because she had good intentions. She wanted, you know, to create her own, you know, con that was better than YouTube con, because apparently there has been allegations that, you know, VidCon is not always nice to the YouTubers. And, you know, it's maturity. Unfortunately, Tana didn't have the resources. She didn't have the funds. She didn't properly research the, you know, the convention that she was supposed to be hosting all these people.
She put no research in.
Yeah, she hired a guy that's almost the same age as she was to help manage
How
her
is
with
he
it.
running a company?
That's the question here.
How did he get a loan for this company?
Allegedly, it's his mom's money, but still.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Yo, like, I'm not saying anything, but Jesus, if I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, I'd be doing a lot more with it.
Yeah, and it's like this dude said that, you know, he had done other venues before, but, you know, I hate to say it, you need to have more than just a few venues under your belt. This was going to be a big thing.
Yeah, and honestly, again, yeah, sure, that guy fucked up, but I'm gonna sit there again. Who the hell told you to hire this person who's 2 years older than you with a company nobody knows?
Yeah.
And which it came out that people told you not to hire him. There are professional. You live in Hollywood. I don't understand. There's professional party planners in like professional buildings with like lawyers up the ass who would have handled the situation for you.
Yeah, and personally, Tana, she's a party girl. Like, you see it all the time, like on her social media and her Snapchat. She hangs out with Bella Thorne.
God damn it, Bella Thorne, you could have helped her.
Yeah, you know, I was confused because like I saw Bella Thorne like in those videos with her, and I'm like, hello.
Did you not help her? I don't understand.
But then let's stop. Bella Thorne herself is only 19, 20. 19 or 20. Bella Thorne don't have time for other people's problems.
That is true.
She has her own damn problems. They're not as strenuous as other people's problems, but she does have her own problems. And I'm pretty sure, you know, she was probably busy while her friend decided to implode socially.
I think the biggest takeaway, because it's getting about that time, but I think the biggest takeaway from all the random ranting that we just went through is that, like, think your shit through. Don't just act. Really put in the time and research and think about your level of maturity when you're going about doing this. I.e., don't be a Tana. I know it sounds like we're just throwing a lot of shade at her, but she gave one of the biggest examples of what not to do when organizing an event or anything of importance.
And she even told me what not to do when handling my own wedding. Shit, if you can only hold 150 people, don't freaking invite 200.
Oh my god.
Don't do it. It's not gonna work. I know it's a very small scale, unlike hers, but still.
I know some people are gonna, you know, not agree with a lot of the things that were said in this video, but, you know, that's human nature. Like, if we cannot sit together and talk about things and disagree about things respectfully, then we as people are doing a lot of things wrong. We used to be able to disagree and still be friends.
Yeah,
if you don't like chocolate, man, fuck you, but whatever. Let's go out the playground and play dodgeball or some shit.
Like, we are perfect examples of friends who... We are 3 friends who are very different. We have similar likes in some things and very unsimilar likes in other things, but we're still friends. You know, and there's people who break up years of friendship because they don't want to play Fortnite. I'm sitting there like, y'all weren't friends.
Right.
I hope you know this, but you know, guys, we've been chatting here in this hot tub for an hour.
Yeah, pruny bitch.
I'm glowy as fuck. Look at me. Look at. Yeah, glowy.
I'm all drenched.
Well, Kiki has been submerged most of this podcast. So, Lord, she's probably a fossil under there. But, you know, guys, it's been a blast. We talked about a lot of things that, honestly, we talk about all the fucking time. And which is the reason we decided to start this podcast, because, get over it. So, we shall be having another podcast next Friday. Our, I think, supposed schedule is supposed to be record Friday, upload Saturday.
Yeah, that's about right.
So we should be doing this weekly, talking about God knows what. God knows
just sit
how.
here in the hot tub.
God knows tomorrow. Thanks for watching, guys, and I've been your dark side connoisseur, Countess Sylvana.
Of course, the lovely Empress Harmony.
And I've been your cat, Lady Kiki Mew.
You
Oh god.
Oh my god.
Normies, go home!
Yeah, get out of here. Okay, I'm getting the pruny bitches. Let's get
Oh god.
Yeah, me too.
See another one.
I'm fucking started streaming. I started streaming.
You gotta stop. Oh my god.
Oh shit.